Good morning, dickheads. Good afternoon. Good evening. I don't know what time it is you're listening to this. Maybe you listen to this, go to sleep. Good night, I guess. We are back, dickheads. We're back with another side quest. Got a couple more nights to cover before we get to the last episode of Private Dicks, which will be the quest for the Holy Grail. Today, we're actually covering a bad guy, Maleagent, Sir Maleagent. Now, he it definitely has a similar name to Meliant, we covered a couple episodes ago, but don't mistake them. Maleagent was the son of King Badgemagus, and Meliant was the nephew. Maybe the Meli thing is like a Gorian thing. I don't know. Maleagent's the villain in the Lancelot story, The Knight in the Cart, but that's not the only villainous stories we can tell about the second biggest villain in Arthurian legend. So let's get into it about Sir Meliant. Before that, before we get into the whole thing, let's do what we do before any of these episodes. Let's talk about the lie. Now, if this is the first episode of my series on King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table, I suggest that you go back to the first night episode, which was actually about King Arthur himself. I think it was 59, Private Dick's 59. Then go back and listen to all the night episodes that came before this. If you go back and listen to all those episodes, you'll understand that I make up stories all the time about these nights. I'll tell you what I learned this week and add a story to my own. I don't tell you which one I made up until the next episode. I kind of throw in an extra little fact, a story that didn't exist before me. I tell a lie, you know. The last episode we covered King Badge Magus of Gore. All the Queen Diane stuff from the last episode was a lie, but you knew that. I kind of told you in the episode. The names of his daughters being Gretchen, Gertrude, and Stacy. Another lie, but I told you. The lie I told you about King Gore was kind of boring, actually. King Gore. The lie I told you about the King of Gore was kind of boring. When I told you that he was an erratic king with many tournaments where they fought bears and shit, yeah, that was the lie. He didn't like round up animals. There wasn't crazy Colosseum style fighting at the Gorian castle, but I don't know that for sure. I only learn a bit. I don't even know. Maybe at these jousting things, there's fucking horses that are running towards fucking rhinos. Like, I don't know if they're doing crazy shit like that. Imagine there was jousting on different animals. Oh my God. There's no mention. There could have been, but there's no mention of tournaments with bears and cougars and lions and all that kind of stuff. That would have been good. That is something you expect from the King of Gore, though. Blood everywhere. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I hope that somebody picks up these lies and they add it to the whole story. Like, I hope the King of Gore ends up having like a fucking Colosseum Zoo style fighting. Like, I want that to be the thing, but it's not. It's me made that up. So, without further ado, let's talk about Maleagent.
An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
Sir Maleagent. 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 Male agent. That's how you spell it. Male agent. Maleagent. 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 It's probably Maleagent. Seems French. Anyways, I'm going to call him Maleagent because it's funnier to me. The son of Badge Magus. He is who was last week's feature episode. And as established, Maleagent's mother was named Queen Diane, but she died early from a tunnel horse carriage crash. So Maleagent didn't really have a mother growing up. Those paparazzis always taking out the Queen D's. The fact that he didn't have a mother growing up, though, is a reason that they point that Maleagent is just like an evil knight. Just blood, bad in him the whole time. And not having a mother, and also having a father who is known as the King of Gore, that's probably a bad combo. You got the King of Gore and no mother. Of course you're going to be evil. Although his sisters seem nice, but Maleagent has an evilness to him. One of Maleagent's sisters was his best friend. She is unnamed, but she's also named Gretchen for this. But I mean, they don't name her for real, which why can't you just give, she's talking to Maleagent. Anyways, I love these old stories. Women are just objects to be used or further story plot thickeners. No real personality. It's enough. Anyways, she's unnamed, but she's also named as his greatest confidant. Maleagent was a psycho from a young age, but his sister always covered for him. There's one story about how he killed the family hunting dog just to see what would happen, and everyone was trying to figure out who killed the dog. That was like one of his early quests, I guess, to evade getting caught for being a serial killer in fucking training, you know? And nobody even suspected Maleagent. The only person who knew was Maleagent's favorite sister because he shows her the bloody knife and then bragged to her about how he watched the dog's eyes light go out or whatever. The light of in the eyes of the dog go out. It's worded super dumb, old English stuff. But yeah, when he killed it, that's what he said to his sister, and she's like, "Cool, Maleagent." Neither Maleagent or his sister never told her dad who killed the dog, so they end up blaming a Jewish horsekeeper or tamer, either one, a horsekeeper or horse tamer. It's said in different ways. Who they blamed it on him because he always hated the dog. There's a bunch of stories where the horse tamer shoes the dog, the hunting hound. They never really say what happened to the horse keeper guy, but I'm guessing the fact they called him a Jew in the story and blame him for this atrocity, it goes without saying. So they probably killed him, which is a crazy story to begin with. Then it kind of it's life. It's one of the first indications he's crazy. Is that story? And as a young prince, Maleagent was appointed to the Round Table by Arthur, despite his downfalls, despite everyone kind of having that inkling that he's the weird, creepy kid. He still gets to get a knight, and because of nepotism. Nepotism's a huge thing in Arthurian tale, as we've seen. Like if he wasn't the Prince of Gore, he would have been way less likely to succeed, especially get to that heights. But hey, man. On a side note, unlike the King of Gore, Prince of Gore sounds like a terrible moniker to have. You know, Maleagent, Prince of Gore. King of Gore sounds awesome. Prince of Gore doesn't have the same ring to it. It sounds like you were like an opening wrestler on Raw in the 90s who just like never won. Just more of like a whipping boy for Triple H when he was getting around, coming around. You know, like those guys that Tommy Jones versus The Undertaker. Like The Undertaker definitely killed this guy. Yeah. The Prince of Gore. Yeah, it's not good. Maleagent gets his seat on the round table way faster than his dad ever did, though. Badge Major had to wait till he was 50. So, and he was a great warrior, one of the better fighters at the round table. Maleagent really was. Maleagent, though, he would have considered himself the best knight. He considered himself equal, if not better, than Lancelot, who's like widely regarded as the best knight of the round table, the best fighter. Maleagent's like, yeah, I could take him. You know, so there's always these guys. Ever since like the Middle Ages, they've had these guys who are like, yeah, well, so what? He knows mixed martial arts. I've fought 3 times at a bar. I could definitely beat that guy up. You're like, dude, you're gonna get murdered. I got him. I got him. Maleagent frequently fought in tournaments. He once accompanied King Arthur for a tournament at Castle Perilous. That's a castle we talked about a bunch in the Gareth episode, Lynn and Lioness's castle. Gareth went and saved Lioness from there. Remember, brought Lynette along. That castle, Castle Perilous, is sometimes also referred to as Castle Dangerous, which I think is fucking amazing. Naming the castle something fucked up like perilous or dangerous, it's just so simple, and it tells a huge story. You know what I mean? Like it's one word just makes that castle have that. You know, it's a dangerous castle. It's called Castle Dangerous. It's probably beautiful, but it tells a story, paints a picture. Maleagent fought Gareth in the tournament that was at Perilous, Castle Perilous, and Maleagent won. He wounded Gareth with a spear to the shoulder. Jo just I don't know if that was jousting, but like it sounds like it because the spear, but maybe that's a lance. But regardless, like jousting or fighting must have been so brutal. Jousting must have been crazy when they got hit real hard or like hit in the throat or something, just blood everywhere. They love crazy fucking entertainment back in the day. Like that to me is wild. Like imagine HBO had jousting special, just like a one-time thing, but it was to the death, like old school. People would watch, but we'd be horrified by the results, you know? Anyways, Maleagent thought himself so much of the equal to Lancelot that he thought Guinevere could like him in the same way as she likes Lancelot. Now, it was a secret that Lancey and Gwen were banging, but people knew. One of those secrets that, like, everybody except the one person who should know knows. Like, King Arthur's the only one who probably was just like, oh, hey, what's up, Gwen? Everybody else was probably like, they're fucking, I'm not telling him, you tell him. Gareth's like, I ain't telling him. He'll find out. He'll find out. We all found out, you know? Maleagent one time got in a fight with Sir Lamorak, who I might talk about in the next episode with Sir Lamorak. He doesn't really have anything to do with the Knight's Tale, so maybe not. But he got in a fight with Sir Lamorak, Maleagent, and they were fighting about who was the prettiest of the queens. Was it Morgause or Guinevere? And Lamorak had a thing for Morgause, so he was voting for her, and Maleagent was Gwen, obviously, because if Lancelot could have her, that's my girl too, you know? And they got into blows over this. And I'm sure it was Maleagent who started the fight, like egging it on, kept the fighting going longer than it should have. You know, those guys that just like add an extra argument to like he seems like a prick like that. Like I just see Lamorak being like, "Whoa, dude, I'm just saying. I think she's prettier. I think Borgaz is a hotter princess." And Malaysian would be like going crazy, just going like, "You're a fucking idiot. I'll fight you." Like, no room for discourse or talking. Malaysian's just a dick. And then it's a good thing Sir Bleobaris entered the room with Lancelot, and the two others stopped fighting right there. No clear winner from this fight, but Lamorak was looking like he was going to win. Lamorak, after the scuffle's done, all the fight's done, calls him a good man with great knight skills or something like that. But it sounds all sarcastic and shit. You're like a great man. And the little evil fuck Maleagent takes it to heart. Then Maleagent decides he's going to take matters into his own hands. Oh, yeah? Okay, I can't, not going to fight Lamorak, but you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to kidnap Gwen. And he does it. And I told you the story before in the King Arthur episode, but I'm going to retell it, adding a bunch more detail. Maybe not a bunch, but a couple more things. So in the King Arthur episode, I said that he ambushed Gwen while she was riding in a cart with one guard. Well, that sounded fun at the time. Now I've read a bunch more and I found out the real story. It wasn't something that boring like normal. Gwen, what was happening was Gwen and a small party of ladies, some unarmed knights, squires, servants, and their families were out A-maying, and that's when Maleagent ambushes them. What is A-maying? A-maying is a traditional way of celebrating May Day. You go out into the woods and you gather flowers and like green branches just to decorate your house with afterwards. But when you're out in the woods gathering, it would be like gathering them in a jolly way. Like people would literally be dancing, sing to gather flowers. Like, I'm gathering flowers. I got some sticks. This is gonna look good on my porch. Just singing and dancing. And this is the thing people did in the Middle Ages for fun. It's fucking hilarious to me that it's like musical theater one minute and then like The Walking Dead the next. There's a plague going on. It's wild. Nobody would do that now. I don't think there's people aiming now. Is there people aiming? Is that a thing that's still happening? Please tell me. Get a hold of me. Detective Agency at gmail.com. And if you tell me you aim, please send me some video. I would like to see it. I'm very excited for that. So as the battle went on, Malaysian actually ambushed them out aiming with 100 men, which is a lot of guys, but he did it. And the battle goes on. People, nobody's dying yet, but people are. Malaysia has an overwhelming force. People are about to die, and Guinevere sees this, and she gives herself up to Maleagent, so nobody like, dies. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody really does get hurt. A few of her men are injured, but nothing too substantial. So she gives herself up. They're all taken as hostages, except for one kid who Maleagent lets escape. He tells the kid to head back to Camelot and deliver a message to King Arthur for him. So the boy does this, runs away back to Camelot to tell Arthur what was happening. Maleagent heads to his father's castle in Gore, Chateau Avalon. I don't know how they passed the sword bridge without getting hurt, but they do. But I think Maleagent probably just knows the path better because he's from Gore. It's one of those like traps. If you know the trick to the trap, you're not going to get hit by it, right? Then, when the kid finally arrives at Camelot, he demands to speak with the king, citing that the queen had been abducted. Arthur grants audience to the kid, and he delivers the message, trying not to forget a word. And the gist of what Maleagent's message is to Arthur was that if Arthur wants to see Guinevere alive ever again, he must send someone to fight in single combat. So Arthur says, okay, simple. I'll send my best knight. Lancelot, go! You're the best at fighting by far. And it's kind of funny that Arthur picks Lancelot because this proves how brain dead he was about the whole affair. Lancelot jumps on top of it because that's his girl. He's gonna go fucking try and save. He was gonna do it anyway, probably, right? So Arthur's like, "Go, Lancelot, save my wife." Lancelot turns to leave the door, but Sir Kay, Arthur's pseudo brother, complains and says, like, dude, I can take down Maleagent. Why do you always send Lancelot? Maleagent's a bitch. I got him. I want to fight him. Brother, I want to fight him. So, to avoid hearing his brother whine, he sends Kay instead, says, Lancey, take a seat. Knowing this is a terrible idea, Lancelot is worried. So worried that the next day he gets on his horse and rushes out to see if Kay needs his help. He probably had a hard time sleeping. Not that far up the road, he finds Kay's soldiers all fucked up, and Kay is nowhere to be found. The injured soldiers tell Lancelot that Maleagent got the jump on them, and the duel happened right here in the forest. Maleagent had won that duel. Now, not only was Guinevere kidnapped, so was Kay, because Maleagent took him as a hostage as well. Lancelot thinks to himself, oh my god, Gwen's dead. There's no way now. He's gonna put her in a fucking high tower and she ain't getting out of there. I gotta go save her. So he starts riding towards Gore fast as he can to save Guinevere. I guess Sir Kay and the rest of them. He rides so long and so fast that he kills the horse he's riding. Yeah, rode the thing to death. That is commitment. So committed that he commandeers another horse after his first one dies from the first farmer he comes across. He flashes him the shield, tells the poor guy, I'm a knight of the round table, and I'm commandeering your horse. Then he rides that one hard. He rides that one fast. Unfortunately for the new horse, Lancelot was on a mission, and it also dies of exhaustion. Lancelot's killing two. Fuck it. Just stop for a second. Let them drink, you psycho. Like, Lancelot is the worst of them. Lancelot is a piece of shit. And I know that's probably like a hot take, but he is. He's garbage. I can't wait to do his episode because I don't like him. So he killed two horses. Still hasn't gotten to Gore yet. He panics near his second dead horse, and a dwarf with a cart passes Lancelot and stops. Lancelot explains the situation, says he needs to get to Gore as soon as possible. The dwarf offers Lancelot a ride, but there's one condition, that he has to ride in the cart. Lancelot stumbles backwards 2 steps. I can't get in a cart. Back in the 5th and 6th century, I said this in the other episode, riding a cart was like the lowest form of transport. It's like for prisoners or like people are about to get hung in the square, town square, like prisoners like that. Like, I'm not talking like prestigious knights of the round table didn't ride in carts. That's what I'm saying. And the dwarf knows this. It's not like a big secret. And the knight would be pissed, any knight. But he thinks that's funny. I kind of like the dwarf. The dwarf's like, yeah, I'm gonna ask him anyway. It's funny to me. So Lancelot thinks about it, gets in anyway, and they head to Castle Avalon. I don't know how the knight survives the sword bridge. Like, I don't know how the dwarf and Lancelot survive but they do. And like I said last episode, Lancelot's the first person to go past that bridge and make it home to tell the story. Once Lancelot and the dwarf arrive in Gore, Lancelot challenges Maleagent to single combat in exchange for the freedom of Guinevere, her A-Mang party, and Sir Kay. Maleagent says, no way! Fuck that! You're Lancelot, and I already beat Sir Kay. You're all dead. No 1v1. And they cross swords. And Lancelot is a better knight. He wins easily. And he could kill him. He does, but he spares Maleagent's life in exchange for his, Sir Kay's, Guinevere's party, Guinevere, and all their lives to be spared. Maleagent's father, King Badge Magus, and Lord of the Castle, agrees to the terms. Maleagent did not want to. He was pissed. Lancelot goes through all this. What do you think Guinevere does? Falls instantaneously into his arms with love? No, she complains. What's this? I hear you hesitated getting into a cart with a dwarf? Is your pride worth more than my life? Would you rather me die than you hanging out with a dwarf? Oh my God. He's a knight of the round table. He's got certain obligations. He can't be sitting in the back of a cart with a dwarf. Imagine. Like, that's like, it's a lot. They argue, but they get over it. Sir Kay, still comatose from his fight with Maleagent in the forest, is in Guinevere's bed bleeding. Not in her bed, in her bedroom, in his own separate bed. He's resting, hasn't really regained consciousness, like I said. The fact that Kay's in the room and the fact that they were arguing doesn't stop old Lancey and Gwen from boning it out that night. They definitely do. Lancelot's bleeding from the fight with Maleagent, and he gets blood everywhere while they're fucking. Sheets, beds, pillows, the floor, whatever, blood everywhere. And he leaves early in the morning before any of the guards can notice that he spent the night. Lance and Gwen weren't open to being lovers. They had to be discreet. So if King Arthur found out, like I said, who knows what he would do. People call him Valiant, the King of Kings, whatever, pure, purest of the pure, nice king, whatever. But we know different. After doing all these episodes, everyone in these stories, let me repeat that. Everyone in these stories are violent monsters, and cheating on a king would for sure get you killed. So Lancelot, just as a side note, everyone's crazy. Lancelot escapes her room without being noticed by anyone, but Lancelot didn't clean up. And the cleaning servants, I call them cleaning ladies, but they're servants, notice the blood. And as soon as the ladies of the castle see the blood, they think that Guinevere must be committing adultery with Sir Kay. Sir Kay's in there bleeding, injured, same room. But that's what made sense to them. So they go tell the already pissed off Maleagent about the blood all over the lady's bed and how that must mean that her and Sir Kay were sleeping together. Why? Because Sir Kay's in there and he's injured. He's bleeding everywhere. So they didn't see Lancey go in. So must be fucking Sir. So Maleagent waits at the door for them to leave. Lancelot's set to leave with Sir Kay and the party. So he steps in when they're about to leave and he accuses Guinevere of adultery with Sir Kay. And Lancelot steps right in instantly. He says, "There's no way Kay and Guinevere were committing adultery." He promises Maleagent that Kay and the Queen were committing adultery. I'm telling you, I'm not lying. And he wasn't lying. She was committing adultery with him, Lancelot. Kay's just an unconscious cuck in the corner. And I'm pretty sure at this point, Lancelot just wanted to fucking kill Maleagent because he didn't like how someone was going to question the Queen's affairs like that, you know? Even though it wasn't him being accused, he said, don't accuse her of being a cheater. Arthur's going to know the truth. If you get closer and closer I am to death. So Lancelot decides, okay, fine, let's fight again. Single combat again. And he wins again. Not even difficult for him. Lancelot gets him to the ground and almost, he wants to kill him. And he looks over at Queen Guinevere and she tells Lancelot, kill him. She's a monster. Kill him. So Lancelot says, yeah, I'm going to kill him. But Maleagent's on the ground and it isn't honorable to kill a man on his back or on his knees. He wants to fight him on his feet, fair and square. But Maleagent knows that he can kick his ass and he stays on the ground. So Lancelot tells him, get up and fight like a man. Maleagent, no. Lancelot says, okay, what if I only use my left hand? Will you fight me then? Maleagent thinks about it, still says no. Lancelot says, okay, only left hand, right hand tied behind my back, and with only 3/4 of my armor. Maleagent reluctantly agrees and gets to his feet. Lancelot peels off a quarter of his armor, ties his right hand behind his back, picks up a sword with his left. Before Maleagent can set his feet, Lancelot hits him with a downward blow to the head, splitting it in two. Not decapitated, splitting it in half like a piece of firewood. He's a fucking psycho. And that's how Maleagent dies. In disgrace after kidnapping a queen. In front of his dad. An actual noble knight and king of the land expresses a lot of fear to tell Badge Magus about killing his son. Badge Magus took it really well. He's a realist. He knows that his son got what he deserved. And that's the end of that. If we're going to talk about that probably one more time when we do Lancelot, but that's his main thing. He's the second biggest villain in Arthurian legend, except for Mordred. Maybe Morgause might tie. It doesn't matter. He's a villain. We did a villain. That's fun. I like how the story didn't end with he joins Lancelot's side in the war between Lancelot and Arthur and gets killed in battle. Because that's what most of them have been right now. This guy's death got cut, his head cut in half like firewood. I like it. If you like that episode and you want to hear more of these, go comment and rate whatever you guys can do. And have yourself a good week. We're going to a couple more nights, a couple more episodes, and then we're done. Peace.
I just watched Private Dicks, and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.